Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's office in sunny South Florida, Miami. Today's date is Thursday, April the 18th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell market summary brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. I want to first start off by taking a look to see how the indices closed the session out here for the day. The Dow Jones was down close to 81.5 points here. The Nasdaq was down a little over 38 points, and the S&P 500 was down close to 10.5 points. If we take a look at the breadth on the markets today, we had 3,570 issues declining. On the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the AMEX, we had 2,464 issues advancing. On the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the AMEX, so pretty much a mixed day here. We weren't leaned heavy to one side, but we did get some nice selling pressure in the markets today. And then in the last hour, around 3 o'clock, they started buying the dip on the market and closed us off the lows. But in any case, breadth, was in favor of the bears today, and the market still has a lot of technical damage that it needs to recover if we expect these dip buyers to have confidence in coming into the markets. All right, so across the board, we've seen some nice buying pressure in the basic material sector. The financials were weak today. The healthcare stocks were weak today. Consumer goods were pretty strong. Take a look at Pepsi, PEP. Technology was decent. Verizon had a strong day today. Intel had a nice little move up today. We'll take a look at a couple other names here that we were watching, along with those coal stocks. I got a nice little bounce off of the BTU numbers that came in better than expected. They lost less than the street expected, so they bought that sector up. Those stocks have been depressed for a while now, and some dip buyers came into those names. And we'll take a look at those charts. Hopefully my software doesn't freeze up today to see if those are going to get some follow-through action tomorrow. So let's go ahead and jump into the charts here, starting off with the SPY daily chart. You can see we closed at 154.14, closed down 97 cents, down 0.63%. All right, now we're coming right back into this little prior resistance, right, which is now going to act as support right here around this 153.22 level. Call it 153. We're also at the 50-day simple moving average and exponential moving average. If we break below today's lows, we break below 153.22. You want to look for a move back down. I would say down towards, if we break below 153 and we hold below 153, the next real support level is going to come down here right around 149. That may be a target for us next week if we continue to see this heavy selling pressure. Take a look at the volume that we have coming up here. Take a look at the volume that came in when we were getting this little BS bounce from the jobs number, just basically them squeezing out the shorts. And now we're right back down, guys. So a lot of good, interesting action going on here. If we hold this 153.22 level and we break back above today's opening price, right, look for a move back up towards the top side around 156.84. That's how the SPY is looking. Let's go ahead and jump into the Russell 2000, the IWM. IWM actually held up a bit today. It was not showing relative weakness to the other indices like it has been doing for the past 2 weeks or so. But IWM, same thing, same at support right here, 89. We break over 89. Look, if we break below 89, look for a move down here towards, I would say, 1 second. We break below 89, look for a move first down towards this 88, then maybe back down here towards 86, 85 or so. But again, we are at some support right here. We could get a little flash down, break below today's lows, and get a move where the dip buyers come in and close off the highs and have some type of little hammer formation form tomorrow. We'll see. I just want you guys to know that we're working off this nice little support area from this low, and then from some buyers trying to come in where we are currently trading at right now around this 89 level here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the one more second here. If we break above today's highs over $90.39, look for a move back up towards 91. If we break over 91, look for a move back up towards 91.72. There's just some levels to watch. Of course, some of these levels are levels that may not get hit tomorrow, but at the same time you want to have them on your radar. If we go ahead and take a look at the triple Qs now, the technology sector. The technology sector again here, guys, break it down out of this bear wedge. We got to get some. We have to get some nice confirmation. But if we can break below 67 and hold below 67, and then we break below these 200-day moving averages, we're going to be looking for a move back down here towards 66. All right, and then we also have a nice little gap fill action right here around say 65.25 or so. So this is a potential area that we can hit right here in the short term. But again, I want to remind you guys the triple Qs are breaking down out of their wedge. Let me adjust the wedge pattern right here, and you can see. Okay. All right, so this could get ugly in the Qs. We already see Apple breaking down. We already see Amazon had some nice selling pressure today. IBM had some selling pressure today. Then they came out with earnings and they got smoked even more, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure you take a look at that chart. Google came out with earnings today. And what did Google do real quick? Let me see something here. All right, so Google's traded initially traded higher on the earnings and came right back down, and now it's pretty much doing nothing. But either way, Google looks like it wants to roll over. All the technology stocks are looking pretty weak. So on the triple Qs, like I explained to you guys here in the previous videos that I've done here, we had a lot of shake and bake action, a little consolidation. They shook the buyers out off the lows from the jobs number. Then they shook the buyers back in the market, and they shook them right back out the market. And then the sellers came back in once we held below 69, and now we're breaking back below this range. If we continue to hold below the 67.85, all right, expect us to trend down, and expect people to look to get short with a stop somewhere above this level right here from this little prior support. Now going to be acting as resistance. All right. I like when these ranges set up because they give us a little guideline or a nice little risk management tool to work our stops against and our levels against. So keep that in mind. The triple Qs are not looking good, guys. The triple Qs, if it continues to hold below and get these consecutive lower closes, all right, like today we got 2 consecutive lower closes, it's not going to look good. All right. So those are levels to watch in the triple Qs. Let's go ahead and take a look at that dollar index. See what the dollar index did today here. The dollar index, little pause day from yesterday's big buy candlestick. We do have this little downward trend line that we have to gauge to see if we hold above it. If we hold above this little downward trend line and we flag a bit here, you got to be expecting the dollar to try to make a push right back up. All right, and you know we could get a back test of this little trend line that we broke right here. All right. We could get a back test right up there towards those highs and try to come back up towards these highs. We'll have to wait and see. We need more time for that, but we'll definitely keep you guys on top of that if you are watching these videos. Let's go and take a look at the euro dollar, see what the euro dollar did today. Euro dollar had a little bounce, but then again it closed off of its highs, and now we're just kind of basing right here on top of this 200-day moving average and on top of this 130 level here. So keep this one on watch too. Euro's trading in the range between 130 and 132. We'll be on top of that. The VIX. One thing I want to take note of the VIX here is that the VIX had some follow-through action today. We normally don't see any follow-through action on the VIX when we get a nice candle, but take a look, guys. It's pretty impressive. We got this big green candle. This was when they did a little shakeout on Tuesday, and then we got some nice follow-through on the VIX with 2 green bars here. And you know we normally don't see this. When's the last time you've seen a nice follow-through candlestick from a green candle? I mean, you had some action right here. Then we had a big breakout. But aside from that, usually when we get a big candlestick, we get a sell in the VIX, sell in the VIX, sell in the VIX, you know, sell in the VIX. So we'll see. Action's going to start getting pretty interesting, and we should be expecting some big moves in the market if we break over 19. One thing that I didn't get a chance to show you guys yesterday that I wanted to show you guys on the ES, all right, was this analysis right here. Let me load it up real quick for you guys here. Drawings. Let's see here. Show drawings. Trend lines, and I want to take off the studies here so you guys can see the clean price action, and I want to go back 2 years. All right, here we go. All right, this is pretty interesting, guys. If you take a look at this little pattern right here that we had back last year in March and April, and of course if you go back to my videos that I put on YouTube, you will see me going over this analysis right here from the breakdown, and that's going to be on my Channel Guide Trader YouTube channel. You can find it via Ask Chris He Trades. Go back to March. We were trading the ES via this head and shoulders pattern that we formed here. I want you to take note of this trend line though. This is the top of the trend line from the head. All right, and these 2 trend lines right here are from the shoulder. Right, throughout the whole year we were trading around those trend lines, but look what we have going on right now. From this little key trend line from the top of the head, from the breakdown that we had right here, those trend lines are still relevant. Again, I preach this to you guys all the time. If you have key trend lines in your charts, keep them on your charts until they're not relevant anymore. But now, okay, now what we have going on here is we have this is pretty interesting how the market's symmetrical. We have the ES, all right, was trading this nice little range here. All right, and then guess what? They trapped some of these longs above this key trend line, and now they're stuck. This was a big breakdown day right back below this key trend line. We broke right back down. This was a fluff up action that they'd had on Tuesday. Smacked them right back down yesterday, and today we got the fall through. So now, if we hold below this trend line right here, guys, A lot of people that bought right here, I mean, if they're not trapped already, which they are, if they're not feeling that pain already, if we start cracking some more, we crack below this 1530 level, and they really start feeling that pain, we can get some nice selling pressure. That's why we're expecting a possible nice breakout in the VIX. I'll keep you guys posted with that, but that's the analysis that I wanted to show you guys yesterday. And these key important trend lines that I have on my chart come from the head and shoulders pattern breakdown that we had right back here in March. All right. So if you want to see how we maneuver through the markets, make sure you come check out the chat room, mywallstreettv.com, to get the access to the chat room. You want to go to wallstreettrading.com, fill out the form on the right-hand side for the 14-day free trial, so you can see how we maneuver through these markets intraday pretty accurately. And we do this at our office in Miami, which if you live in Miami, you're more than welcome to come check out our office. And we have offices in New York right on Wall Street that you could go check out as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other things here. Let's see. I have some notes that I've written down. I have some notes that I wrote down right here. Coal stocks bounce on BTU earnings report. BTU, CNX, WLT. Commodities get a small bounce. VIX has a fall through day, which I discussed that. IBM earnings, they got smoked. VRTX blowout to the top side. Now, I don't trade VRTX. That stock usually trades pretty crazy, but after hours, this stock came out with some blowout numbers, I'm assuming here. The stock closed at 52.87, and after hours, it's trading at $80.24. Do the math, guys. That's a lot of moolah. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some commodities here real quick. All right, not going to touch base on these a lot. Just going to run right to the charts here. GLD had a nice little bounce today. Still has a lot of technical damage done on the charts. Just got a nice little bounce today. Nothing too crazy there. Silver via the SLV. Silver, not a bounce at all. Pretty much a flat day. Nothing going on there. And then crude oil via the USO. Little quick snapshot of these ETFs. Crude oil had a nice little bounce here. Bounced off the 31 level. Makes sense. It's right here at support after having this move extension down. All right, it's coming right into the support. You got to expect to bounce this area right here. But at the same time, now we're going to gauge it to see if it's going to rally all the way back up towards these 33s and try to break back above, or if it's going to try to rally up towards this area and make a lower high below 33, or if it's going to actually rally all the way to $33 a share or an ETF share and break down. Okay. What else we got going on here? So let's go ahead and talk about some stocks. Apple broke down today, had another follow-through day to the downside. Not looking good, guys. If you guys recall, I talked about this being a nice little head and shoulders pattern in Apple, with the measured move being $50. So this is 50 from 420 to 470. $50 down should take this down to 370. They have earnings coming out next week. People are selling into the numbers. It could get ugly in Apple, and that's the reason why we think those Qs could break down. And that bearish rising wedge on the daily chart of the triple Qs is, possibly telling us that we can expect a lot of downside in the markets. With the VIX getting another fall through day as well, that's another clue. At the same time, these are just clues. We still really haven't got that fear breakdown like most are expecting. Because if that was the case, we would be closing on the lows, and we still have those dip buyers trying to come in at the close. So we'll see how it plays out. But Apple's looking pretty ugly. Amazon got smoked today, not looking good at all. However, Amazon's still above the 200-day moving average, and it's still above some nice support right here at 250, 253. What else? Let's see here. For the technology stocks, Intel, they came out with earnings. I believe it was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. No, they came out with earnings on the 16th here on Tuesday, and so far off those earnings numbers, they've been trading pretty strong here. Went to the top side. This is going to have a breakout over $22.50. Call it. So I'm actually putting an alert right now for my guys in case that does trigger. We could go ahead and try to participate in that if it has some nice order flow action when it does break out, if it does break out. But Intel is actually looking pretty decent. Keep this one on watch. Another stock that looks pretty interesting, of course, is FSLR. FSLR is bull flagging up here above these moving averages. Did a little shake and bake action below 36 to try to stop some people out that had to stop below the low. These candlesticks right here. All right, 1 second. But so far looking pretty clean. All right, I had this key trend line from this little channel line that I joined right here from these inflection lows. 1 second. All right, from these inflection lows right here. All right, draw my little parallel trend line, forming the nice little channel off these little prices right here. All right, and you can see that's exactly where we stopped at. And I had this on the charts before, That's exactly where we stopped at on the day that we had that big breakout, and not right now we're flagging underneath that level there. So one thing you want to see for when FSLR is ready to break out is you're going to start seeing it trickle up towards this trend line, and then you're going to have it set up, maybe consolidate below that trend line. Then you're going to look for that breakout. We'll see if that plays out that way. But if not, this thing's probably going to need some time to consolidate off this big power move that we had when they came out with their earnings intraday before they were supposed to, or some crap like that. So keep that on watch, FSLR folks. Looks pretty interesting. Another stock that I mentioned today is PENN. One of the stronger stocks in the market. Did not even budge with the selling that we've been getting for the past 2 days here. So since Monday, that weakness in the market, and they're actually running up into their numbers. And they came out with their numbers today before the bell, and it reported let's see here, 63 cents estimate, and they came out with 69 cents. They beat their earnings, and it looks pretty good. Keep an eye on the stock here. This is a gaming stock, so if you also want to make sure you keep an eye on the LVS, the MGM, the MPEL, the Wynn Resorts. I mean, sorry, not the Wynn Resorts, but the Wynn. WINN. Well, yeah, it is Wynn Resorts. Sorry. Wynn Resorts. This one's not getting no momentum. So right now, the strongest name in that group is PENN. Pen. I talked about the coal stocks here. BTU got a bounce today. Again, they reported better than expected. They were expected to lose. Let's see. They were expected to lose 13 cents per share, and they lost actually 5 cents. Of course, that's good. And those stocks got a bounce. We actually called that for a trade in the chat room intraday. Worked out pretty well. You could take a look at that via our midday market update. And some of these stocks get a nice little bounce. You definitely want to keep a track. Definitely want to keep a track on them. Keep your eye on them. CNX, all right, has been one of the stronger names out there for the fact it's not, it hasn't been breaking down. It's most likely been here. It's been trading sideways pretty much between 35 and 30. So if this thing could break over 35, these coal stocks try to get a bounce, this CNX is going to be the go-to name you want to take a look at. Aside from that, recognize that it's in a range, and you really want to see it try to break out the range with some volume and some nice follow-through candles. They have earnings coming out next week, so keep this one on watch as well. Maybe it could perform better than BTU did on earnings. We'll see. So that's about it, folks. We'll have some more stuff in the chat room tomorrow morning. Make sure you come join us there. If you're interested in trading with our firm, we have offices in New York and Miami. Just give me a shout, ccooper at wallstreettrading.com, and I can help you start your career with prop trading, or if you're interested in trading futures and all that other good stuff, currencies, we have access to all those markets. Have a great day, folks. Cheers.